looky here, looky here. This is what happens. But that's not what this video is about today. This is about the seeds. Here you go, boy. I know you're a boy. Uh-huh. You almost lost it, boy. She almost took it from you. Oh, she took it anyway. Ain't that something? She ran away with it like a thief in the night. Hello, everyone. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. And I just recently got a question, kind of loaded, asking if you can plant frozen beans, frozen peas, or seeds from frozen vegetables. First of all, before we begin, I'd like to say, don't judge me. In saying that, let's be serious about it. So there is a guide or a rule for preserving. So when we freeze vegetables, right, there are bacteria and enzymes that live on the vegetable. An example is, pretend this is woody and it'll be dried out, okay? Pretend that I wanted to use this to grow. I'd have to get the seeds, right? So I'd break it open. If the seeds were mature, which it is not, because this is not woody. See, I could stick my nail through it. It had to be woody for this particular vegetable. But there are bacteria and enzymes that are living on the outside of these fruits and vegetables. And sometimes they're not good for us. They can put us in the ER, okay? If a company was to sell a vegetable, right, like this, in the frozen food department, in order to preserve it, it has to be blanched, or it should be blanched. Just saying. Not my rule. It's just the preserving standard, because there are enzymes that live on the back of that, and they can't afford to have, if this thing is frozen and somehow defrost, because sometimes it takes us sometimes it takes an hour to get home with frozen vegetables, and they kind of unthaw a little bit before we throw it in the refrigerator. It has happened to me and everybody. They can't afford for the bacteria to, or the degrading process, it degrades. If you, just like chicken, if it's frozen and you unfreeze it and then you freeze it again, that's not good. No bueno. Same thing with vegetables. So in order to stop the enzyme action in the frozen vegetables and to preserve the color and the freshness of the vegetable, we blanch it, which means you partially cook it, or the industry partially cooks it. So here's some okra that I preserved properly. Properly means that I blanched this okra and then I dried it out as much as I could, and then I put it in the freezer to prevent the degrading process from continuing to grow. So this is partially cooked, and apparently, from what I know, from the US standard, you have to blanch it in order to have it in the freezer. They don't say it on the bags, but it should happen if they're preserving correctly. So you may say, Jamerica, well, what's the difference if they, maybe they don't blanch it? Yeah, well, they get in trouble with that. That is the difference between me trying to incubate. Y'all know I incubate eggs, right? A soft-boiled egg, a hard-boiled egg, and a fresh egg. I can't grow that. That is a cooked, even if it's partially cooked, egg. Here you go, boy. This is a fertilized fresh egg. You see that little white thing? That's the eye. That's how you know it's fertilized. It's starting to develop. This can be incubated. That other one, no. Here you go, boy. You're getting this one too. Dogs can eat that stuff. So the answer is, once you tamper with, excuse me, or cook something or even partially cook it, well, it destroys its capability to germinate. So if you do not do it correctly, I'm not going to speak to that because I don't know. But anything that's cooked is most likely not going to germinate. Just like that egg, that hard boiled egg is not going to create a chick. So I'm not going to give you a definitive answer, but in order to preserve vegetables correctly, and the industry standard is to poach it. Excuse me, I'm talking about eggs again. To blanch it, same thing, partially cooked. So the answer is depending if you do things right or not. So that's my stance on it. If it is blanched and cooked, if it's frozen, you might not get a good germination, right? You might not get a germination good. You might not get a germination at all. But if it's blanched, definitely not. No go. No bueno. If the seeds are partially cooked, because they're gonna cook that joker for at least some vegetables by 6 minutes. They're going to partially cook it so that it's al dente. You know how you get spaghetti that is partially cooked? Well, that's what they're doing to your vegetables. That's why when you get vegetables, they're kind of a little bit soggy, broccoli, anything, because it's partially cooked. In order to stop the deterioration process, they cook it. They boil it. They blanch it for a while, and then they sell it to us. It's for our own safety, and because it tastes better. It ain't going to taste like, I don't know what it would taste like. It'd probably make us sick if we didn't blanch it. I don't know. Sometimes I blanch stuff and sometimes I don't, but that is my choice. With okra, broccoli, cauliflower, I always blanch it. Tomatoes, nah. Peppers, nah. But those other ones, definitely get blanched, and I'm not selling to the general public, so I can do that. So if you want to try it, you can. Maybe I'll try it, but I don't like wasting money. I don't want to buy a bunch of peas, frozen peas that I know are partially cooked, even if it's not on the package, and waste my money. And, they deteriorate and bring bugs. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank everybody for being with me. I don't know if somebody can get it to grow, because if they can get it to grow, somebody's not doing something right in the preserving process. This is Jamerica with Jamerica Life. I thank everybody for being with me. Keep on growing, keep on trying, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, y'all. Baby, let's cruise away from here. I guess she's grounding herself.